cheers to starting this commission and to like I'm so excited to do it with you. I feel like they're gonna be sister plays, but also like, sisters sometimes fight, so it could be anything.
I like the way you're starting up our year-long rivalry with that. Sometimes sisters fight. Cheers.
Have you been like keeping up with all of the new seasons, everything?
I thought that Canada was a lot of fun. There are a lot of queens that I really loved. I thought that the hosting was awkward. And I thought that UK was kind of boring.
I like rewatching it, like rewatching the season, knowing what's going to happen after I've like watched it. And I haven't rewatched UK, and I feel like there's a reason. And I feel like I would rewatch Canada before I would rewatch UK. There was just so much diversity of drag, I feel like. And they seem to all really care about like each other and like doing well. And yet there was still fighting, which I love. You have that play where you're a drag queen.
My uncle Anthony was a drag queen, and he died in 2005 or 2006 of AIDS. And this is in Albany, Georgia, which is where I'm from. He was really influential to me as one of the only outwardly queer people that I was close to growing up. And I remember when he came out to me, I asked him if I thought he was going to go to hell. And he said yes. And that really stuck out to me because I wasn't out yet. And it just like kind of freaked me out. And so I decided that I wanted to write about it. And it took a long time. It took like 10 years. It was most recently produced at the Story Theater, and they allowed me so much freedom. Yeah, and we did it. And look, it's on my wall.
Yes.
Tell me about your play. What is your play about?
Oh my gosh. How much am I going to say that's like not going to change? Somebody's going to watch this and then they're going to like see the like workshop and be like, this was not what she was talking about.
I don't know a lot about Ariel, but I do know that she's a liar.
Exactly. I was listening to this podcast, one from the Vaults, which is like this one trans woman that is doing basically like a history of like important trans figures, something I knew, but something that was like, it was good to hear it in sort of like multiple times of this. Drag was something that a lot of trans women were doing, and it was like one of the primary methods of survival, like a lot of times combined with sex work. And it's interesting to me now to see how much the drag landscape has changed from that. I find so much hate from trans women to drag queens. I think I understand where it comes from like an internal place of like, but it's something where I've always felt really not okay with that. I think Charlene has a really good quote where she talks about how like everyone who's like in the world is like seeing all these queer people as the same like freaks and shit. These worlds are so connected, and they're so like, I learned to do makeup from drag queens, and like I regularly work with drag queens and DJing, and I've, some of my best friends are drag queens, some of my best friends are trans women and drag queens. And I always think it's interesting because I'm like, this like label can be worn in so many different ways, and there's so many different things that can be done with it. So it's a mixture of that, and then I'm obsessed with Tu Wong Fu. Thank you, Julie. Thank you for everything, Julie Nomar. I literally like, I can't even say the title. I was like, damn. It's these three drag queens fully in drag the entire movie. You never see any of the characters take off drag. And so it reads as a much different thing. And the way I feel like drag queens are portrayed is a lot more having to do with this idea that like there's like women looking how they're looking like in any sort of situation. It's also this interesting thing where it's like Tu Wong Fu, it's like three straight action heroes who all do a great job like as a fluke, I think. What if like drag queens are in those parts and not action heroes? The other sort of big influence is Mother Courage and her children, because I'm sort of using like Mother Courage story mixed with Tu Wong Fu, where it's basically this like family of trans woman, a wig seller, and her like three daughters, basically kind of subverting this idea of this road trip going into small town America and like changing people's lives. RuPaul's Drag Race is everyone on everyone's TVs. Like small town America is already changed.
What are you consuming? What are you watching and reading and all that good shit right now?
ContraPoints is this trans woman who's like political op-eds, but like very stylized with like huge sets, huge costumes. Like video essays on YouTube are like everything to me. And then I also started Freshwater. It's supposed to be like the book of the year. The album of the year though is the Chloe and Halle album. That's like what for me has been like what I keep coming back to, I think.
I'm listening to a lot of music because I'm just like turning on music and writing. So I've been listening to a lot of Ani DeFranco, Joni Mitchell. Leantine Price has a spirituals album. First Daughter Suite by Michael John LaCusa. I've been reading a lot of poetry. I'm in my room, so I can just like.
Yeah, what are you reading?
This is what's nearest to me. I've been reading a lot of this because well, kind of because of this play actually. And I've been reading Paul Laurence Dunbar. I'm in my room. I can just pull things around me that are important to me.
It's like this huge collection, all about Eve. The other play I'm working on is like a trans version of All About Eve. So it's actually research for another play that I'm sort of like more in the middle of right now. You said you were reading poetry specifically for your play.
Basically, most of the plays that I've written have been about the past. I really wanted to challenge myself with this commission to write something that was contemporary. I always wanted to be a singer-songwriter, and something that I really admire about singer-songwriters is that they, through their talent, have an outlet to express whatever like feelings they have going on, and no one calls it selfish, right? I just wanted to challenge myself to take this moment in time where I'm really confused and really stressed out and really, frankly, hopeless, and try to channel that through my art in a way that isn't self-serving, but that is instead somehow sharing. But the plot that I've come up with, which will probably change, there is a novelist, a young novelist. It's 2020. He's in quarantine. He's decided that he's sick of his life. His life is terrible and miserable or whatever. And he wants to end his life after finishing his masterpiece. In the midst of this, he runs into a burning bush. One of the gods in the burning bush tells him, yo, there are a bunch of us gods up here, and they're all pretty mad at humanity right now. So they want to send a great flood for the second time and destroy all y'all motherfuckers, right? And I think that there is some hope in humanity. So I came to the best writer on earth, and this novelist is like, I haven't sold anything. Why are you coming to me? I want you to write a poem, a single poem that will inspire the gods to save humanity.
And I think the concept of masterpiece is something that's really interesting to sort of bring up. There's this idea, it's like the way artists are or something.
How do we as artists continue to create in a time that feels hopeless?
Yeah.
Like, if we only have 7 to 10 more years of a healthy environment, what the point is writing a play or making a song? You know, why do we still do that? I don't have an answer for that, but I'm hoping that through through writing this play, I will stumble upon something that is hopeful.
I've not really tackled religion like head on in any piece, and I feel like my piece is definitely going to be like the first. There's like the religious characters in Mother Courage, and I'm like, sort of interested in this idea of like, what is religion to most people right now? And I was like, it's honestly either like buying shit in capitalism, buying every accessory to do yoga type shit, and then I'm also I feel like queer people's thing is astrology and tarot. I feel like people are so like, oh, I can't believe you're talking about religion, but I'm like, we should. Like, I've just been thinking about it more recently.
Did you grow up religiously?
I grew up Catholic, but I wouldn't say I grew up religiously. How about you?
My grandparents were Jehovah's Witnesses, and my parents were Black Southern Christian folk. I've gone through periods of being really, really clinging to religion. You know, I'm certainly not religious now, or I should say, I'm not religious in that way now. There are things that I am religious about, like, you know, Beyonce. I have a lot to unpack about religion, clearly.
With your play, it seems so interesting because that's like literally what the church used to do is commission artists. The gods commissioning this artist is so gaggy.
Commissioned by the gods. I can't stay up late tonight.
Like,
I have to be up early. You know, Zeus is just.
Is the reason someone's a good artist is because the first thing that they're going to write is just brilliant and blessed, or is it because they're going to do so many edits of this horrible thing, and then what comes out of that? Like, what does it mean to be like anointed with talent?
Yes, dramaturg. How could someone get a vibe for your writing?
Magical realism, like Lorca, like cute, like for sure. And then sort of the quirkiness and campiness of John Waters mixed with like sort of like straight up drag. I think more poetic, tender, like confessional, like Miranda July, but also like a little Sylvia Plath, I would say actually too.
If you want to get a vibe for my kind of plays, you should listen to like some Candor and Ebb musicals, Terrell Evan McCraney and Tony Kushner, pop music, like 2000 Britney Spears.
Oh my God.
Like a TRL episode.
What's your sign? I want to know that.
Oh, duh. Okay. I am a Pisces sun, I am a Pisces moon, and I am a Capricorn rising.
I'm a Virgo sun, Capricorn moon, Libra rising.